Okay, next I want to hit you with, and this is the word that we are going to be dealing with to let us know and let you know, the viewer of this video, that Afro Unu was a student of Dr. Malachi Z. York. That word is logo and logos. Okay, so to find logo in the introduction to the Nature of Nature, book 1, okay, he uses it twice and only twice, and the second time he uses it, I'm not going to bring that up.
Twice in the Nature of Nature, book 1, and that was a lie. All right, so you go here, you can see logos is mentioned here.
It's Lexo, baby.
Book 1, page 30, number 24. You see logos is used again, page 70, number 79. You see logos used again, 72, number 82. You see logos used again, book 1, page 96. See logos used again, page 106. And you see logo used again, page 139. So I don't know why you keep doing all this fake freestyling, because it's obviously you're not studying the books. You just freestyling. You famous for that. So once again, it's not 2 times in the book. That's just showing and proving you don't know what you're doing. So stop yelling how long y'all had the books. It means nothing, because it's clear you just talking to be talking.
They say in St. John 1:1, and I quote, "In the beginning was the word logos, and the word logos was with God theos, and the word logos was God theos." In this, you can change that and say, in the beginning was Zeus or Zupu, and the Zeus or Zupu was with God. Okay, God is the nature in Zupu, and the word Zupu was God theos. You understand what I'm saying? Let's continue to go in though. Make note that they put this logos back in the beginning with their theos. Theos is the Greek word for gods, and Christians refer to it as Christ, which would be my logos, which simply is my theology or simply my theories. Now, according to this logo, that was in the beginning with God. And according to Genesis 3, the 2 powers that were there before Adam and Eve was God and the devil. Now pay attention. He says the 2 powers, which can be also looked at as 2 world souls, which could also be looked at as Zupu and Nupu. But right here, prior to the writings of the introduction to the Nature of Nature, we understand that there are 2 power forces that were in existence before Adam and Eve, which is called God and the devil today, played out in the last ethereal sciences called religion, where we use these terms. Okay, and if the devil, Zupu, is the master of divination, and divination is defined as Nakash, the serpent, then St. John logos, okay, could be interpreted as them worshiping the devil who was in the beginning with God.
Into everything else, let's run it back a little bit, because I keep telling you, young man, you do not know what you're talking about. You just full of misinformation, and you don't even realize you're on the losing team. So let's go back before we jump into everything else. All right, this is a joint I did May 6, 2015, and it says, "Is Hermes Tahuti, Zidihudi, the moon spirit god that was incarnated into Pandabar Malachi Z. York, a bisexual spirit? According to Noon, Science Book 2, page 57, number 69 says, our moon in the sky by brain concentration is indeed the source of hermaphrodites, bisexual, homosexuality, any combination of these. Right now, this is showing improvement because the nature books been saying that. And then America is moon-based, and this is why we see all this transgenderism and transgender fender going on. Now everybody want to be trans women, trans men. Men want to so-called identify as females and playing women's sports and vice versa. This is all coming from what the nature books are talking about, from the moon, which emits this. Now watch this. And any combination of these, since the moon spirit god called Thoth or Tahuti is indeed by nature a trisexual, meaning he would try and indeed use Mr. York for his perverted pleasures. Mr. York said in many books he was indeed Tahuti incarnated. So as we provide this evidence, the Sabeans and Nunabus, Sabeans alike, can see what a nature book 2 says, that the gods of old has went nowhere. So again, you need to stop trying to label somebody the moon god except the one that you follow and worshiping. That's your master teacher, which is a hermaphrodite. That's why you're taught hermaphroditism. Noon does not or as ever came from the hands of York, neither Nawapu, which all is going to be brought back up again, because as long as you keep lying, we're going to keep telling the truth. Now this comes from the nature books right here. Right? Listen to reason. The moon of our planet Earth is basically new to gender, but does have enough male and female materials, powers, and energies to produce beings called the moon god and moon goddess by brain concentration. And the moon also produces, look, hermaphrodites, right? And we know that hermaphrodites in this case is females that got both sex organs, but there's more female material in the physical body of the person than male. And then you have hermaphrodite. So the book is being clear by way of what? Mind and spirit beings. Of course, hermaphrodites are persons who are what? Homosexual, bisexual, which you got pictures of York wearing makeup and lipstick and lace and wearing female Hindu jewelry and all of this stuff and teaching Egyptian gay ritual classes, which nobody has verified yet. We all can point to where York is teaching all of this hermaphrodite stuff. This whole thing with hormone sex, all this stuff is a part of the hermaphrodite spirits that's coming from the moon. Or anyone who indulges in a combination of unnatural or what? Diverse practice sexually. The word hermaphrodite stems from the root word what? Hermes. And Hermes is the Greek version or the name for the moon god. In other words, Hermes is the moon god. Caucasian style, or in the nature of the Caucasian race, which I said before, or the nature book has stated, there are many different gods for each race. So again, regardless, even if there's a Tahuti for the black race, they all come from the moon. So guess what? All of those gods will be participating in multiple behavior that are similar because their source is the moon. So it doesn't matter if you got an Ethiopian moon god. The Ethiopian moon god is not that different from the Caucasian moon god, because you got different gods for different races on the planet. All right, so now we established that. So let's go a little further for repetition. All right, now we go to another book, which I know that Mr. Charles got. You can see all these other books that York said. What did he say? I have devoted my visit to this planet to the resurrection of the mental dead, which I affectionately refer to as mummies, right? Then jump down here. But for the few chosen, for the many call, I sift to find those beings who wish to become one with the supreme and all. So I, the supreme grand hierophant Amun Nibu Akata, right? Again, murdering the name, as I'm known throughout the mystical schools, the incarnation of what? Tahuti, thought student of the great seven. So again, we see York is accepting this particular title. And again, the nature books clearly states, as well as the BIAE, that Tahuti, Thos, whatever name you want to use, is no friend of the Ethiopian race. All right. So we know who's a moon god. All right. So all that keep trying to label me something that's not my name, player, you only making yourself look dumb, because you ain't gonna find nowhere in Noon that supports anybody naming themselves that only followers of York had that name Tahuti in their name, like a Daffer calling themselves Tahuti and Zedahuti and all these different names. Only York followers are using homosexual spirit being names. Nobody in Noon in their right mind is doing that. All right, we go to the Black Book. Again, we just getting down to this for repetitious purposes. All right. So he talk about in the Black Book. You see, all you have to do is type into Hootie in the Black Book. So he talk about who he is, and he's claiming to be Amanubi Rakapata, which we already showed you. He already came out a couple years ago and wrote the letter that he was not Amanubi Rakapata. So we caught him lying again. All right. So we go to the next pictures. I just want y'all to know this coming out the Black Book. So you get down to the second page. What did he say? What is the meaning of nature? Nature is from the Latin word natural, or nat, to be born. So nature birthed me at the right place, at the right moment in time, to fulfill the mission of renewing our story. I came not to change, right? Then it goes to Hootie from, I cut that off, but you go up here, he says he's known as Tahuti from Septet Sirius, which is a lie. Tahuti in noon is a moon god. So how can a moon god, which is a satellite, come from a whole nother star constellation? That in itself makes no sense. All right? Even called Dijahuti, Zehuti, Jijahuti, or in the Greek they call what? Thoth, and Hermes, Trismegistus. So we just read in the nature books that Hermes is short for hermaphrodite. And we know that York is teaching about homosexual. And Mr. Garu, you must have forgot that you the one that put us on to the Gatekeeper video when we was in the debate group at noon. You was the one that brought that to our attention. So again, you following the homosexual, physically and spiritually. So again, it only shows that you can't use the information to stand on it, so you have to resort to lying. And that's what you're doing. But we already know who's the real homosexual, sir. All right, let's get down here. Don't forget your little master with his little Pink Panther with the penis. Now here we go with even York put out another book, look, which is plagiarized. The Sacred Wisdom Tahuti plagiarized that. All right? Even had an image drawn of Tahuti. Again, you won't find nobody honoring these gods in noon. Only followers of York does this. So this is just to show and prove that only thing you can come up with is lies, but we got all of the facts. So no matter what you say, you're not going to change the reality. No matter how much weed you smoke and your eyes roll to the back of your head and you wake up out of your stupor of stupidity, that you're going to still be on the losing side. And this is all we have to do. Again, here go another picture. Look at that. How are you going to have a picture of a spirit being? You sound like a fool. And I told you, got the penis on top of his head. That's a penis. Coming out of what? The moon. So we already know who's controlled by the moon. It ain't nobody over here. Now let's run to the BIAE. Who were Adam and Eve by race and religion? All right? It talks about this. All right? Let's go put Thoth in there, all right? Go further down. That is the first people converted to what? The moon god Tahuti's way of life. You read the BIE, it tell you that. And we know all of these things are not for our benefit. So once again, you are lost. And you're trying to do your best to not only pit Afro Unu and Dr. York against each other, you're trying to put Afro Unu underneath York when we already done proved that. His wife already done proved that. He was never around nobody except Gipu and Sipu. He was a loner. He was to himself. She already stated that. So you ain't finna trump somebody who was there. A real elder, not the lying elder that Prince York was stringing along before he died of health conditions, talking about he was a vegan chef. That makes no sense. That's like saying somebody that's obese talking about they're a vegan. None of that stuff makes sense, what you talking about. All right? Going in the second part of this whole serpent thing, because York is a religionist, and this is exactly why he detoured away from the Nine Bar and the BIE, which taught him against that. So now let's keep going. Asking the Wapis, we on Chuck page, thewapinism.com. Was the ancient Egyptian deity Tahuti the serpent in the Garden of Eden in Genesis 3:1-15? All right. So we go down here. It says, believe it or not, this is what York's Part to Rock and Actual Fact series in the then leaflet called Void and Darkness. And in it, York writes that the Houthi, Ditchahuti, Tahuti, whom York referred to himself at one time, but that Tahuti was the serpent in the garden. Now, mind you, Baldilocks, you was just reading from York trying to paint a picture about Adam and Eve and that the devil was in the garden with their God. So we have looked at it from York's perspective. York taught that not only was Tahuti there in the garden with Eve and that he actually was telling her the right thing versus the wrong thing, that he was an incarnation, which means that if the serpent is bad, then that means that the way York has been moving around throughout his career has been snakish and serpentish, to say the least. Now we look back at Genesis 3:15, we see, and that is the Lord of Elohim will put enmity, Ibedah, online Hebrew Strong's number 342 from the Hebrew Strong 340, Ayab, meaning hate, hostility, enmity, and hatred. So it was this Lord or master, these Elohim, who first introduced hate between thee, meaning online Bible, Hebrew Strong's number 5171, Nakash. He was just talking about that. From the online Bible, Hebrew Strong's 5172. Nakash means whisper, divine, diligently observe, a hissing creature who then whispers, and the woman, Genesis 3:1, under the title serpent. The winged serpent was one of the Egyptian deities, Zetahuti, Ditchahuti, Tahuti, Thoth, Ibis, the keeper of the secrets, a talking serpent, according to Genesis 3:15. So by York aligning himself with this particular lunar spirit, he's telling you that all these negative things that was going on according to the Bible and the dictionary, that this particular being was deceptive and he was playing games with the woman. The same thing York was doing all these things with these women and tricking them into child molestation of others and having incest and all types of stuff and blackmail them into doing the wrong thing. So York is basically spiritually telling on himself of what took place. All you got to do is look at the teachings. He's telling you, the spirit in him was telling you what he was about. All right. Now we look back at Genesis. So this is just what Chuck was reading up above. So all you have to do is look at that. So he's basically showing you, and he said that for those who've been around, that said that actually Tahuti was not really against, or the serpent wasn't against Eve. He was actually telling her the truth. But then this goes against the holy tablets, where it tell you that Nakash or who he said was the devil in the garden of Gan was actually out to get Eve and Adam and trick them. So again, here we go with the lies, where you trying to tell two different stories that you claim took place. If the event only happened one time, who was in the garden? Was it Tahuti or was it Nakash, the so-called reptilian in the garden? Because how can a reptilian be a moon god? Because it makes no sense. The fact by the makeup of a reptile that deals with either being in water, out of water, or both, but Tahuti supposed to be a spirit, but then you saying he's from a whole nother star system, when the book tells you, even in the ancient ancestors and ancient Kemet never said no foolishness like this. So this is, again, York is a fork-tongued liar, and that's what he does. All right, so now we got that part out the way. All right, so now let's jump into serpent, right? We're in etymology. Limbless reptile, also the tempter in Genesis 3:1-3-5, the old serpent, snake serpent, from Latin serpentum nominatum, serpent, snake, creeping thing, also the name of a constellation, from present participle of Serpe. See, now here it says serpent is a name of a constellation. This ain't got nothing to do with Tahuti, because Tahuti is a moon god, and York put the picture with Tahuti without a mask on. There's no way that has anything to do with nothing. All right, even though he says these things, just a lie. From present participle Serpe to creep, right? To crawl, creep, source of Sanskrit, sarapati, creeps, sarapa, serpent, herpian, to creep, herpton, serpent, Albanian, garpin, serpent. But guess what other word is in with serpent? Look at this right here. Go back. There you go. Herpes, an inflammatory spreading skin condition used of shingles, gangrene from Latin herpes, a spreading skin eruption from Greek herpes. The name for the disease, shingles, literally creeping from herping to creep, move slowly, cognate with serp to creep, see serpent, see? And that's where we is at now. And you jump back over here. And you're tested positive for herpes simplex 2. And these are the documents you can find on the weaponism.com. So you ain't gonna escape this here, player. So you a clown. You want to play games with lies. This the paperwork right here. This the paperwork. He tested positive. We already shown this plenty of times. See, positive. Positive. Come on, man. Look at that. You got to be kidding me. Who y'all think y'all fooling? Positive. Hermes.
Yeah, when we get to 106, it's going to break down Liberator. And the true priest and liberator of this time of day was Baba Yanun. Just by the definition itself, Afro Unu doesn't fit the definition by way of his expression. And I already mentioned this.
Idiot. Once again, you are not the teacher of noon science. You're not even teaching it correctly. You damn sure ain't the true teacher. That's another lie and misnomer you keep giving yourself because you mentally and spiritually compromised. You a dumb clown. There's nowhere in there that says the true teacher. No, long as everybody is teaching from the book, it does all of the teaching. The information is the form. Noon is alive on his own. So you're not a true teacher. Nothing. The only one who was the true teacher and informer was Nupu, Samurai Reason themselves, and the books were the results of that. Other than that, stop trying to mix these two individuals who are opposite of each other. All right, so let's jump into this priest thing, because you definitely is a fool, and you don't even realize that the science is destroying you every time you try to misuse it. So let's go to the first part of dealing with priests, because you's a client. I got into this same thing with Nusa. All right, listen to reason. The ratio of positive powers to negative power at tip top of the smart circle of order is 7 to 2, 7 parts positive and 7 parts negative. As a mixed power formula, and the ratio of positive power to negative power at rock bottom of the smart circle is 2 to 7. 2 parts positive and 7 parts negative for practical performing purposes, meaning as proven by a light bulb. All positive power alone will not give light, and all negative power alone will not give light either. You must include both in order to produce light. Therefore, the same principle holds true and works in the universe and nature in general. The 7 to 2 ratio gradually becomes 2 to 7, coming downward clockwise on the left side of the circle of order, and the 2 to 7 ratio slowly becomes 7 to 2, going upward on the right side of the circle. In the top half, pay attention, monkey boy, in the top half of the circle, the people and gods and goddesses have a natural born leader from each origin group, but they do not need any priest because everyone naturally knows right from wrong and adheres to right. But in the bottom half of the same circle, the natural leader needs to be a priest as well as a leader. Now watch this, because the people have to constantly be reminded what right from wrong is and persuaded to do what's right. Watch this, and this is why, watch this, and this is why there was an odd person, number 27 among the 27 number origin groups of the Phoenician, Indian, and Mongolian races, right? You do not see the Ethiopian in this part of this particular group. Even though the pharaohs and all of that stuff, they had priests that worked for them. The same way Amenubi in the BIE and the Amenubi being spoken of in the nature books had priests and nuns up under him. All right, but this is clearly telling you. Now watch this. And each successive leader should be a natural born leader, chose by spirit beings, or both. So again, these had a number of groups, 27 in number. Where in the world have you seen that at? Because York had hundreds of followers. These here said these people had priests amongst the group. You saying York is the priest of this day and time, right? That's what you say, right? And you trying to misuse the nature books to confuse and lie to your peoples, right? I told you your audience is stupid because they the ones who listening to you and believe in you. Instead of reading the book for itself, it speaks for itself. Now watch what 2:11 say. Listen to reason. The physical representative, right? The king or queen must be a what? Role model who sets the right and proper example for others by adhering to Nun and the laws thereof. Since Nupu and Nun are the true and real God, the ruler, king or queen is leader in accord with the God. See, it says king or queen, all right? The foremost purpose of the ruler is to maintain for himself all other members of the kingdom society, the fulfillment of the constitution of what? The kingdom, and make decisions of society together with his or her helpers. The ruler is the what? Physical god or goddess, the physical primate, prelate, highest priest, and the physical sole ruler. The king or queen, who is the person personification and incarnation of Nupu, the ultimate ruler in absolute nature. The physical ruler must be what? Elected by the people of society every 9 years, or removed from power before the 9-year term is up if he or she deviates from the God Nun's commandment laws in Nun society. So we talking about in true culture society. That is not here yet. And number two, who done elect the York? When was this 9-year election held? I haven't seen it. Because that happens after the cataclysm, you jackass. You's a dummy. This is exactly why you keep making a fool of yourself, looking like a slick serpent rat face every time you be looking, because you don't want to show the people the pages of the book. That's why you keep reading from it. But you can show your screen. So let's get down to this. This I'm gonna show you how you body York by claiming York is the priesting of all this stuff, right? Watch this. Listen to reason. While on numbers like already mentioned in this topic, let this writer explain a few other facts about 666 and 999. The mystery of the number 6, 3 score and 666 need be a secret no longer, right? Since York like to play secrets and mystery orders and all this stuff. The number 9 and 6 are designate the two major kinds of natural ether. The two kinds of reason and the two opposites. The top of the order circle, positive, bottom of the order circle, negative. Of spirit beings, right? We're talking about the bottom that can exist, include their various degrees. 9 ether, 9 reason, and 9 positive are Nupu, and 6 ether, 6 reason, and 6 negative. Negative is Zupu. 6 is 9 in death. For 9 represent life and 6 represent death. 6 ether and 9 ether are opposites in absolute nature. The domain of 9 ether is the top half of the order circle, and 6 ether's domain is what? The bottom half. The 6 is triple 6 because there is 6 ether in space, 6 ether in matter, and 6 ether in time. 6, the secondary world soul, look, rules as the what? The God, the king, and the priest doing the what? The evolutionary cycle. And the same goes for the 9 primary world soul in its time and cycle. So we know that the king, priest, and all of that won't be done until after the evolutionary closes, and that's after the what? Cataclysm, and then the true culture is brought up. So it tells you right here about the king or the queen. All you have to do is type in king, and it's going to tell you the same thing when you get down to it. I'm going to go all the way down here. Just look for it. Like right here. Because they mention the commandment laws in the Constitution. Listen to the reason. All commandment laws of nature must be the form, framework, and foundation of what? The Constitution of what? The African Noon Kingdom on planet Earth, and any kingdom of people who want to fashion themselves after this true culture society. The same way each time the conditions are the same. So we know that true culture is in the society of African Noon Kingdom. So again, just to go back for references. So when you type in priest again, go to 211, what it say? The ruler is the physical god or goddess, male or female, the physical primate, prelate, highest priest, and the physical soul ruler. That means the physical soul ruler, the king or queen, who is the personification and incarnation of Nupu. York said he was incarnation of spirit beings, 18 in number. 666. Nupu is not spirit being, they're mental energies. All right, so stop the foolishness. He's not the king of nothing but going to jail forever. All right, and this is the ending right here on this. This is book 2, number 309, page 210. So we can get this whole crap out the way. Listen to reason. Physically, the African Noon Kingdom of planet Earth will be, this in the future, because we not there yet, will be all the motherland Africa in capital letters and her surrounding islands, and mentally and spiritually, the king of the African Noon Kingdom, whose acronym is TANK, is Nine Nature Nupu, that's one, emanating from the centers of universe orbs such as the sun, earth, and moon, and this is a connector, and whose writer plus messenger is who? Afro-Unu, the scribe of the positive words known as Noon. The African Noon Kingdom will come into being, this is future, after Armageddon. The climax war between justice and injustice, with justice prevailing. But physically, spiritually, and mentally, the gathering of the African Noon Kingdom starts with members of the Ethiopian race everywhere becoming Noonibus, those persons who accept, learn, and practice the 9 science Noon, and thereby become elites, those chosen to survive Armageddon, the climatic war, the climax action called the Point 3 South Cataclysm. So that's still coming. So you following that's your God, that's your master teacher. So you automatically outside the protection. You a fool, and you sit here lying on sound right reason and the orbs, and you're lying on Afro-Unu and trying to make him lesser than who he is. And the book tells you that all of this is still being qualifications is still coming up, because it says the African Noon Kingdom starts with members of the Ethiopian race everywhere becoming Noonibu. You're not a Noonibu, you're a Nawapian. You said that. So you automatically are out. So why are you sitting here trying to teach us out of the nature books when the books have clearly X'd you out, and you X'd yourself out in favor of a pedophile that's in jail, who you say is a priest, which the book tells you all of the 666 Zupu rule priests in the evolutionary quarter, and the cataclysm ain't came yet, and Noon Kingdom ain't set up yet, and they say Afro-Unu gonna be the king. He's gonna be the first king of the tank. So you might as well just give it up. Stop trying to distort the teachings. The information is telling you what it is. York is not Afro-Unu. He's not Amadou Rakbatar. He's none of these things. He's gonna die in jail because it's evolutionary Melchizedek and Tahuti games. That's where he's going. So follow him over there. That's what you need to do. That's your master teacher. You love him so much. Go and get yourself locked up in Colorado Supermax.
Listen. The cycle of the Savior has passed, so it is time for the cycle of the Liberator. According to the laws and cycles of the omniscient nature, the Savior was Logos, the second emanation of the one supreme being, and the Liberator is Nous, the first emanation of the one eternal supreme being. Okay, so The Savior was Logos, and the Liberator is Nuwapu. All right, it was Nuwapu.
States that the liberator in the nature books, you instituting and switching out words makes no sense. All right, it says right here,
Lexo, baby.
the cycle of the Savior's past. That's 1962, clown. That's technically the end of it. York been calling himself a savior since then, so again, he's out. He can't even save himself. So now it's time for the cycle of what? The liberator. According to the laws and cycles of omniscient nature, the Savior was, past tense, Logos, the second emanation of the one supreme being. And the liberator is Nous, the first emanation of the one supreme being. Nous is another way to say Nupu. You trying to say the liberator is Nawapu, and that's dumb. Because when you go and you just look, it tells you right here what it says. It clearly states Nawapu is what? The science of sound right reason. So we know that this is a translation of what Nupu means. Nupu, Nous, basically means the sound right reason. Nawapu is the science. Sound right reason is Nupu, the science in Nawapu. Nous, Nupu is the mental resurrector. That's the problem. You trying to insert something that's not there. You got a snake tongue like York. All of y'all who follow him do the same thing. You're trying to say things that's not there. All right, Nawapu is a science. Nawapu is pronounced Nuwapu. The meaning of the word Nawapu is the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Nawapu is all knowledge, all wisdom, all understanding, finite and infinite. Okay, Nawapu is the science of science and the science in science. It's a science. So it's not the liberator. You can use it as a tool to help liberate you as far as information is concerned. But Nous is the liberator. It's the mental resurrector. All right?
Now, liberator. It says some believers in the world of religion are taught to expect the world liberator, and other believers are taught to expect the return of the Savior. And according to religious history, he would never return as the Savior, but as the liberator instead, because a Savior in religion is one who offers himself as a sacrificial lamb for the transgressions, iniquities, wrongdoings, evils, and sins of others, the guilty. But the liberator in spiritual science is one who helps liberate peoples from adverse forces. Okay. Now, Dr. York was both. Dr. York was both. To put it another way, a world liberator is a creator and a destroyer combined. One who helps destroy adverse forces like slavery in all its forms, racial oppression, destructive habits, false teachings, blind belief, superstitions, nature ignorance, falsehoods, deception, misrepresentation, no representation, disease, hunger, inequality, injustice, disorder, confusion, division, misunderstanding, false or no definition, and false or no identity of persons, places, and things. And as a creator, the liberator replaces whatever he destroys and replaces it with something better. Nuwapu was that replacement, okay, in 1967. Nuwapu was that replacement. You understand what I'm saying? Doc came and destroyed and liberated, the ideas, the philosophy, the thinking in mind when it comes down to us and religion. All right. He definitely implanted a better mind reasoning, which was Nuwapu. Before anybody was up on noon science, you was up on Nuwapu. Okay. Now, Nuwapu works with the brain. Okay, so if you're not mindful, we can see how you possibly made mistakes along your journeys. All right, comprehension, use reasoning when using this information. The point is this: the cycle of the Savior has passed. So now it is time for the cycle of the Liberator. According to the laws and cycles of omniscient nature, the Savior was Logos.
York is not no liberator, because a liberator does not go to jail. A liberator does not teach people to go back into religion and become trapped in different schools of Thoth and different schools of Tahuti. All right, does not do all these things. 1962, February 5th was the end of the moon cycle, which also went with it the end of Saviorism, but the hangover is still here. So this what York was teaching before he went to jail. This ghost worship. This what York said before he got locked up. He said he happy that Christ found favor in him. That ain't Nupu. Christ is a ghost word. There's nothing positive about that. Because of the things that Ghost God did in the name of Christ, we know that's ghost. That's a lie. All this stuff that y'all teaching is confusion. This is the serpent Tahuti, according to York's own writings, that got in there and just caused a whole bunch of confusion. So York can't even save himself. He didn't liberate you for nothing, because y'all still stuck looking to him and he can't get out. Nupu and Noon are the liberators. They give you the tools to do what you got to do for self until the rest of us are ready to do what we need to do as a group. Ain't no man that's bringing liberation information gonna be a savior, because the book just told you a savior. Noon tells you a savior get themselves set up to get took and killed. And Alpha Uno clearly stated that he was not the savior, and he wasn't trying to play them again. Let me show you what that says real quick. Now let's look at this right here, so we can strike the difference between Alpha Uno and Dr. York. Alpha Uno says right here clear. Listen to the reason. Moreover, Alpha Uno, the physical author and writer of this book, Nupu is the mental and spiritual, is neither a scapegoat nor a sacrificial lamb for the guilty. All right, that's very clear. So Alpha Uno was never a savior. York claimed to be a savior, and the book tells that the savior are the ones that offer themselves up for the evils and wrongdoers of others. And by the same token, birds of a feather flock together. So that shows you, this is why you see so much corruption in religion, especially churches. So York is the one that became the scapegoat. Now let's look at this right here, because the liberator and Noon and Nupu don't deal with that. Nupu them just said, just listen look at what it said. Listen to the reason. Moreover, Alpha Uno, the physical author and writer of this book, Nupu, is the mental and spiritual, is neither a scapegoat. Nupu them saying they are now scapegoat either, because they know that a person that is a sacrificial lamb, they get killed. So Nupu is saying neither us nor Alpha Uno are scapegoats or saviors. But look at this right here. Look at this right here. Ask the Wappins, Sabeans, why did Malachi York plead guilty to child molestation charges? Right? Ask the Wappins, why did York plead guilty? They say answer, because he sacrificed himself to free the sisters. Right? Some of the Wappins say and promote the deception that Malachi took the plea to get the Wappins, Kathy Johnson, Khadijah Merritt, Chandra Lampkin, and Ishtar Cole released from jail because he thought they were being tortured, but they were not in jail at the time, so that excuse doesn't hold no weight. All right? So, and here they go right here. These women right here, and it says that Malachi was arrested on May 8, 2002, denied federal and state bond, pled guilty to 40 counts of child molestation on January 24, 2003. Kathy Johnson was arrested May 8, 2002 and granted federal bond, denied state bond, released on bond December 4th. All right? Remember, York was already, he pled on January 24, 2003. All right, Kathy Johnson was released December 4th, 2002. Khadijah Merritt turned herself in May 21st, 2002, denied bond, released on December the 5th. She got a day later in the same month in 2003. 2. Pled guilty May 30th, 2003. Chandra Lankin turned herself in May 21st. All on basically these two turned themselves in before Kathy Johnson. Denied bond, released on bond December the 6th. Pled guilty May 30th, 2003. Esther Cole turned herself in on May 16, 2002. Granted bond. So, again, even though this is a lie where York say why he did it, and these women were clearly out of jail before York was sentenced, but this is what a scapegoat is. So Nupu is clearly making itself known that them nor Afro Uno are sacrificial lamb, and the time of the Savior is past. So York is not no liberator. That's a lie. And you ain't finna fool us over here. And as long as we got breath in our body, we gonna make sure the world knows that you are follower of a scapegoat, sacrificial lamb who not just sacrificed himself by doing dirt to his own self and kind and children. It's why he ended up being sacrificed, because he was spiritually, systematically being six ether. And that's why he was around there doing all that sex act of all kinds, because he was possessed by a Melchizedek spirit and a moon spirit, a sun and a moon spirit, and both of them work for six ether. So of course he had all them women and stuff around because of the sex that both of those spirit forces was needing for him to do as offerings to them. All right, so you could cut the crap and let's keep going. The cycle. No sacrificial lamb for the guilty, because he represents that change from what? The moon cycle, the cycle of forgiveness and mercy, to the Libra cycle, the cycle of judgment, justice, equality. And that's why York got judged and balanced, as promised by the force of nature, predicted by the sages of ancient times and antiquity. It is in the best interest of all persons, including you, Baldilocks, all places and all things, that this writing message of Nupu by way of Noon not only be allowed, but also be helped by all peoples and leaders on planet Earth. You ain't helping Noon. You going against Noon by lying on the sender as well as the messenger. Complete his mission. You ain't trying to help Noon complete his mission. You blocking of assignment by Almighty Nature via its emanation Nupu and their philosophy Noon. And he Afro didn't create no Noon from no Nawapo. You sound like an idiot. Nupu science is Noon. The science belongs to Nupu. Afro didn't create anything. You see how you keep lying? You just a filthy liar. And that assignment is the revelation of what? True culture and the knowledge of well-being. York talking about going off the planet and hanging out with a bunch of reptilian flesh eaters and pedophile snake beings on a alien made craft, and coming back to try to save the earth. That ain't got nothing to do with true culture. The nature books say Africa is where we supposed to be at. Y'all keep waiting on this lie that some aliens finna come scoop y'all up and you deserve whatever happened to you. All right? And the book keep telling you, not only be allowed, but also be helped by all peoples and leaders on planet Earth complete its mission of assignment by Almighty Nature via its emanation Nupu and their philosophy New, and that assignment is the revelation of true culture and the knowledge of well-being for all who can understand and adhere to mental resurrection information, as explained in this volume in Noon in General, written by Afro Uno. Again, y'all not gonna make it. You, Reason, all them idiots over there with you is sitting there cheerleading. None of y'all gonna make it. I'm telling you that, because you done chose your side, dummies. And you still got one more classification to get past, and y'all not gonna be chosen to survive Armageddon. And then you gotta get past Armageddon, then you gotta survive the cataclysm. Y'all not gonna make it, cause y'all clowns, and you working for Zupu.
Okay, so the nature of nature is being used here as a direct statement, like the all in all, right? The all in all. There's no introductory books on the all in all, okay? The all is and activity is Nuwapu. All right. Doc talks about, talks about the 72 million years for a complete circle of changes. He talks about the smash circle. The smash circle is being talked about in the 9-ball. Okay.
You telling lies, because we already know, based upon this right here, let me bring this back up, that York already put it out there that Afro Unu brought the Wapo. So we know that the very first books that you sitting here reading and lying on came by way of Afro Unu. So you can stop the lies. We can see it right here. Verse 174. So they watched and waited to see if it was Wu Sabat. They knew about the Wapu of Afro Unu. Alright, so that kills your argument. So we come back to this, because them 72 million years that's mentioned in the 9-ball and all of that is actually found in Noon explained. So how can York be the teacher of 72 million years and never go no further than the student can teach more than the actual teacher? That makes no sense. All right. Number 2, Noon teaches us that the universe expire after 5,760,000,000 years, and they go back to the smack circle of chaos for the same amount of time. York taught that the universe will go back 76 trillion years, so that's way more than 5,760,000,000 years. So you can stop lying and keep making up these crazy astronomical titles and terms that you're trying to give York, like York just taught all these things. I keep telling you, dummy, y'all try to take things that only could occur once and give it 3-4 different versions. There's no way the universe can be 76 trillion years old and 5,760,000,000 years old at the same time. It don't make no sense, and it's not scientifically possible. True me to call them peace and wartime.
I hope so. Should I close my eyes sometimes and I just think like, did you really do this shit, my nigga? Like, is this shit even real, cuz? That shit crazy. I go to sleep and I try to wake up with a clear conscience and shit, you feel me? Like, I done been through the mud, niggas sacrificed a lot to get to the end zone, my nigga. Just trying to give our kids a better life than we had it, nigga. I always wanted to change the cycle and create a new generation and pass down everything I work for, my nigga. I'm just thinking out loud. Look, I wonder what life will probably take me, yeah. Won't break me, yeah. I show some love to niggas who hate me, yeah. That's crazy, yeah. I kept my cool without no AC, yeah. Got something to prove, I jumped in the pool and now I'm wavy, yeah. And lately I've been trying to hold my blessings. You talk to God, but you don't know the message. Those are lessons. Walking in circles without no direction, no exceptions. Don't give advice if you don't know depression. Close your lips, cause half of you more full of shit than cola cleanses. I was born inside a manger, and no one ever did me favors. Now I'm highly favored. I finally made it out the hood, now I ain't got no neighbors. So before you talk to me, you gotta sign a waiver. Post-traumatic stress disorder, keep my conscience racing deep inside my thoughts. Wonder how much I can grow if I just even out my flaws. How I teach myself I'm still a winner, even when I lost. And if I lose, I know I'll still be on. Even when I'm off, I took my chances and I'm eating now. I'm finally learning all this shit I used to read about. Now I can live all of this shit I used to dream about. Cause niggas try to leave me out, but I learned to get revenge through my successes, so we even now. I stare at my reflection cause I like what I see. All them years at CVS, working them nights on my feet. Ain't a nigga where I'm from or reach the heights that I reached. I risk it all to give this life to my seed. And if I die today, I'm going out a fucking legend. They gon' play this when I'm gone and I'll be resurrected. Said if I die today, I'm going out a fucking legend. And if they play this when I'm gone, then I'll be resurrected.